to serve their communities. Radio is better than ever in targeting an audience that listens to what you say. Learn more about this exciting radio broadcasting opportunity by calling WNZK Radio at 248-557-3500. This is WNZK, Dearborn Heights, Detroit, your ethnic superstation at 690 days, 680 nights.
AM 1460 WPON, Walled Lake, Detroit.
Welcome to the bright side of aging. My name is Ike Engelbaum. I'm a pharmacist and the publisher of AmericanSeniorGazette.org. It has been wisely said, you cannot help getting older, but you can help getting old. It has also been said that age is a matter of the mind. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. My purpose in doing the show is so that seniors and caregivers can share their ideas and questions on how we can age gracefully and in a vertical position for as long as our good genes will allow. And if we've inherited bad genes, how to outwit them. Our topics include senior housing, financial, legal, safety, travel, health issues, interesting senior events in the community, and most of all, tips on how to put old on hold.
If your question is, who am I going to call to bring the kind of services into my home that I need because I can't get out? House Calls on Wheels provides both medical and non-medical services in your home. They can bring in doctors, dentists, nurses, therapists, and more. And those medical services are covered by Medicare and most private insurance plans. And they have all sorts of non-medical services, whatever you need. Now, if you use 4 hours or more of non-medical services per month, you're going to get a free personal emergency button telephone that you can use for both emergencies or daily use. Call House Calls on Wheels toll-free for further information. 1-888-489-8980. That's 1-888-489-8980.
For over 30 years, Cruz Hearing and Service has helped thousands of people improve their hearing and enjoy the sounds of their life again. If you don't hear as well as you like, Cruz Hearing can help you. They have actually hearing aids that the batteries do not need to be recharged. And they also have a caption phone that you can view for free. And also the phone, if you are over 65, is available to you free. So any phone calls you get, you can see captioned if you don't hear that well. Hey, they've got other stuff. If you'd like the free cookbook, call 1-888-489-8980. That's available. You can call Cruz Hearing Direct at 877-456-2789. The number direct is 877-456-2789. And welcome to Wednesday, as one broadcaster calls it, Hump Day. We're going to hump along, and actually the week has been beautiful weather-wise and also otherwise. In fact, it's been said, some people are wise and some people are otherwise. Well, I like to surround myself by wise people, and I'm so blessed to have a good friend and very wise and individual with a healthcare background. In fact, Dr. Andre Lee was the administrator for Highland Park General Hospital until it closed up, and he was smart enough to say to himself, with all the experience I've had in the healthcare field, why don't I go out there and share my knowledge? Since then, he started Baker College, he does seminars, and he's devoted a good part of his life to giving back to this wonderful community as well as the country. Dr. Andre Lee has various projects for black churches and helping minorities get into the medical field. He's what they call a Renaissance man. So my pleasure again, whenever he's available, because I have to drag him off the racquetball court, or he's an active guy and actually does seminars virtually and in person. Hello, Dr. Andre Lee.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Pickleball. It's pickleball. I gave up racquetball.
Okay, all right. Well,
I'm part of the new craze.
It's a fantastic way of getting exercise, and I know you've written some books as well, and I wanted to get to that, and actually they are finding out now more so than ever. By being active, I'm not poo-pooing the importance of proper diet. The proper diet is very, very important. They say portion size and exercise, but they're accentuating exercise, that it has so much more benefit many times than even if you are not that careful with your diet. So I'm really impressed. You don't just talk the walk. You not only walk the talk, but you play the talk. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. You have to do that. So I don't give out advice I don't follow myself.
Well, if we could ever get that across to our political environment, that would really make a dramatic benefit to our country. And I just want to remind the folks that you have some books available, and for those folks that are really interested in getting some down-to-earth and easy to understand types of approaches to living life in a healthier way. Do you want to share some of your books that you have?
Oh, absolutely. Well, the two books that I've got, one is called Loose Ends, which is I printed 3 or 4 years ago. It's got a lot of stuff in it. It's about a little over 100 pages or so. Easy reading. And then I've got a shorter, more condensed book called Helpful Resources, Organizing Your Affairs. And that particular one mirrors the same things that's in Loose Ends, but that one is a much cheaper version. The other book, I sell it at $9.99, but this one here is more like a handbook. You can get that for $3 a piece. Mainly because I condensed and took out the most important items that people need to worry about today, and ones that they are always worried about. Medications being one of them. As you know, the Medicare law was just recently revised. They restored the ability of Medicare to negotiate drug prices for Medicare recipients. They took that away about a decade ago, and one of their crazier moments in Congress. But now they put it back, and I think we're going to see drug prices dropping for Medicare recipients. But for the rest of us, I put in the book some suggestions on how you can save money on your prescription drugs and other medical services, particularly on the billing part. That in this day and age, I don't know whether we're in inflation or recession. We're kind of confused about that too. But what I've done is just based on my own interactions with getting medical services, I found that the first thing you have to do anytime you go to a medical practitioner, after they tell you what they think ought to be done, is say, how much is this going to cost? And most of them can't tell you exactly what. They can only tell you what they're going to charge you for their services. But what you have to do is ask them specifically what other services are going to be charged me in addition to your services. And most often they can't tell you what that will be, the amount, but they can tell you, yes, there will be a couple of other additional charges. And then that's when you have to go to work. And basically, after that question, you call your insurance company. And I mean, nobody knows their insurance policy. They're just so complicated these days that the easiest thing to do is pick up the phone and say, hey, what's covered and what's not covered?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and let them tell you. And they'll tell you more specifically what will be covered and by whom and what time period. And that's the easiest way to save money. That's something that has to become part of our opening vernacular, no matter what we do. I don't know what doctor you go to see, foot doctor, eye doctor, dentist, it doesn't matter. As soon as they say, I want to do this, how much?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, I always like to reach out to anybody that's listening, and if you have some friends that are getting a runaround in the medical field, I purposely do this show not only to try to bring interesting people on, but to be helpful in everyday activities. And I encourage you, if you don't have a pen or pencil in your hand, please do so and get a piece of paper, because we're going to have a few more guests on today. And feel free to call our toll-free number at any time. I'm a pharmacist, and as I just introduced Dr. Andre Lee, who is involved and has been involved in the healthcare field from an administrative, and really understands the system. And we want to share our information with you. And that toll-free number, I'll repeat, is 1-888-489-8980. That's 888-489-8980. In fact, this afternoon at 1 o'clock, I'm going to be over at the Caustic Senior Center. And these are folks that we get together the third Wednesday of each month. And the Caustic Center is at Middlebelt and 11 Mile Road. And there's a caregiver group there that actually is being conducted by Mary, who actually was a social worker for probably over 50 years. Now she's retired. I like to say she's refired. There's help available. And the key in life is not just complaining and shrugging your shoulders and sharing it with friends and family. Share it with people that can do something about it. And between Dr. Andre Lee and myself, we at least can give you guidance as to who you should be talking to. That toll-free number is 888-489-8980. 888-489-8980. We don't charge you for the consultation, where we feel good and hopefully can make it worthwhile, as we work on sponsorships. And likewise, Dr. Andre Lee has even got some fundraising ideas. And when he was in Detroit, he's now moved to Tennessee. Dr. Lee in Tennessee. He does stuff virtually now. Are you still on that course? We had that Jeopardy healthcare program. It was a lot of fun.
I'm still available. I love healthcare game shows because they're educational while being entertaining. Mm-hmm. So yes, I still do them. If anybody wants to schedule a session, we have to just coordinate and do it at an appropriate time. I would love to do it for nursing home residents, assisted living residents, or group homes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice break, and yet people will enjoy it. And I'm putting together a series on the topic we just discussed on how to save on a lot of medical things. So we're going to have a series of programs on that. And I'm also putting one together for couch potatoes. My wife is terrible about exercising. I said I'm going to drop that word. Workouts. So now, as soon as I say exercise, she runs to the hills. So I'm gonna come up with a series of workouts. Couch potatoes.
The word exercise somehow sounds sort of rough.
Right, yeah, it's rough. But this is for couch potatoes. You're right. I'm working on that now, and I don't think it's going to take me long to pull that together. But we're coming up with a series of different webinars on things like that, things for exercise, things to save you money, and things to put your financial affairs in order. Okay, and I think people will like it, and you can do it for your churches, and we have the game shows. We do it for your. All of that's available. It's like a menu a la carte. Pick what you want, schedule it, and you can do it live, or I'm going to put some of them on video. So either way you want to do it.
Right. Well, actually, I was going to say senior centers would be ideal, and of course, when you were in town, we used to do it right over in the Southfield Civic Center area.
Right.
Right, and there's so many great venues in Michigan that can do it even in libraries. And the beautiful part, that's one of the perks that, one of the advantages that we've had after that shutdown for a couple of years over the virus, and that is It's become very, very fashionable to have Zoom meetings and conference calls, unlike the past. So you don't have to travel to Tennessee or anywhere else, right in your own community. I'll be glad with Dr. Lee to help make it happen. All you got to do is call our toll-free number, 888-489-8980. And of all the things that you hear, people, as soon as they hear that word exercise, it means that you know.
Yeah, I was gonna call it that, but I changed my mind. I said that's not gonna work.
Right. Things as simple as walking, they have found are tremendous value. In fact, I just heard an interesting fact that after you eat, if you just walk for 2 minutes, just 2 minutes of walking, and that ain't asking for a lot, that helps in the digestion of the food and also avoids you're unnecessarily picking up more of the fat calories than you have to.
And you don't have to walk around the block. You can do it in place.
Right.
Stand in place. Remember, this is couch potato. I'm not trying to make you get out and walk and worry about the weather or dogs or anything.
Right.
Just stand up and walk.
Right.
Walk for a couple of minutes.
Right.
Anything.
Right.
Anything.
Yeah. Well, I got a doctor friend who, Dr. Joel Kahn, he's written books himself, and he's a cardiologist, but tries to avoid drugs as much as is possible. And he himself is in great shape. And he, believe it or not, has a treadmill in his office with a desktop. So while he's, when he sings a lot of his patients, he's walking.
That sounds like him too. Yeah, that sounds like him. Well, listen, it's better than nothing. Personally, I play pickleball because it gets me outdoors and it gets me moving. And I don't work at the same time. So I decide to be single purpose when I do that.
Yeah, right. Well, you're active and you're into pickleball. I should really do a search on why they call it pickleball. There's no pickles involved.
No, it's named after the guy had a horse named Pickle.
Oh.
The guy that had created the game. Who created had a horse named Pickle. And he named it after the horse.
Is that right? Well, it's funny. This is way out. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But I try to remember interesting trivia-type facts that we don't really think about. And one of the interesting things about our civilization is that we still have railroad tracks. We don't use trains as much as we used to, but the width of the train tracks had to be decided upon before trains were ever put together. So the story is told that the pioneers, in trying to determine how wide are we going to make these tracks for a train, and in those days they would have 2 horses and a buggy to get around. So they decided that as they were cleaning up the bushes to clear it up for the railroad tracks, that what they do is that the 2 horses would have to lead them through, the vegetation and the trees and bushes. So in order for the horses to be able to walk through, they measured the rear ends of the horses, the 2 horses. So our whole railroad track system is based on the width of 2 rears of horses back in the one next to one.
Isn't that interesting? That's a good piece of trivia. Very good. Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to do with that, but you just ride on. That's all. Hi-yo, Silver.
That's right. There will be the horses behind.
Right. And we'll try to keep people ahead rather than behind. And anybody that's interested, be in touch with you. Or getting any information, my toll-free number is 888-489-8980. 888-489-8980. Dr. Lee, as always, it's a delight, and you bring...
All right, sir.
Dr. Lee brings glee. How about that?
All right.
Talk to you maybe in a couple of weeks.
Have a good one.
All right, you too.
Okay.
Right now, we're going to take a brief break, and we will be right back. Family run for over 88 years, Frantz Hardware has remained family owned and operated. Frantz Hardware is one of a kind. You'll find the newest products offered on TV at very competitive prices. You'll also find safety products, grab bars for bathrooms, battery-operated light switches, remote control devices that you can turn your lamps on or any electrical device. You don't have to run out there anymore. Just press the button. Better yet, just visit Frantz Hardware, located on Main Street and 11.5 Mile Road. They're open every day. If you wish to call, it's 248-544-8111. That's 248-544-8111. Better yet, just visit 11.5 Mile Road and Main Street, Frantz Hardware.
If your question is, who am I going to call to bring the kind of services into my home that I need because I can't get out? House Calls on Wheels provides both medical and non-medical services in your home. They can bring in doctors, dentists, nurses, therapists, and more. And those medical services are covered by Medicare and most private insurance plans. And they have all sorts of non-medical services, whatever you need. Now, if you use 4 hours or more of non-medical services per month, you're going to get a free personal emergency button telephone that you can use for both emergencies or daily use. Call House Calls on Wheels toll-free for further information. 1-888-489-8980. That's 1-888-489-8980.
And I just wanted to remind folks that it's a standing rule that if you just keep things simple, and many times it can solve complicated problems. We hear about the coming of the whole deal with the virus popping back up after people have been vaccinated and boosted and what have you. When you analyze it, the truth of it is that you can do a proactive approach rather than just vaccinations, and that is there's a product and I'm really proud to be associated with it. It's called Cofix RX. It's a nasal spray. You've heard ads for companies that promote cleansing out of the nose. Think about it. Your nose next to the eyes are the point of entry of almost all the bacteria and germs that can do you harm. So why not add an additional layer of protection? The Cofix RX is available in select pharmacies and medical clinics. In fact, Dr. Michael George in Royal Oak, right on Coolidge and 14, has it in his office, and there are offices all over the Tri-County area. If you'll call our toll-free number, 888-489-8980, Cofix RX has povidone iodine. And povidone iodine has been proven and used to be used in days of old before surgery to prevent infections. Now it's available in a nasal spray, and it's a very reasonable price. For a location, or if you'd like to get it on the internet, if you pull it up under COFIX RX, the truth of it is that we at that point can have an opportunity to tell you how to get it and possibly even have it shipped out to you. So the point is, if you are looking for a way as an added layer of protection, consider a nasal spray. And there's small little units for air purification. If you can clean up the air, some of these small units cost as little as $200. So in other words, you make the air around you safer, and at the same time, you have the benefit of having an additional layer of protection. We have other products that I think would help you in your daily activities, and I'd love to talk to you at any time. Just call our toll-free number, 888-489-8980. And another area, of course, that we're always concerned about is the memory loss. And there's now a product called MemoryHealth.com that is actually nutrition for the brain, because we spend so much time buying vitamins and minerals for our body, but we rarely really consider that the brain needs supplements as well. MemoryHealth.com is available also in select pharmacies and can be ordered on the internet. If you'd like more information, as a pharmacist, I can assure you at this point I have no reason to try to steer you in a direction that is not going to be of benefit to you. I've had the advantage of being inside the pharmacy to dispense medications. Now I'm a patient, so I want to make sure we have the right stuff. If you're interested, call 888-489-8980. We can help you in your breathing and also in your nutrition parts of your life. But all you have to do is call. So by all means, write that number down, 888-489-8980, and I'll be happy to accommodate in any way I can. And if you have a organization that you'd like me to speak at, I welcome those opportunities as well. Right now I have to wrap it up because I've run out of time for this segment. So by all means, I want you to remember my favorite parting thought, which is yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift, and that's why we call it the present. Please enjoy your present by looking and living life with the bright side of aging. Welcome to the Entrepreneurs Network radio show. Our mission is to interview successful entrepreneurs who are willing to share with us their ideas and experiences, both the successes and the failures. Because as it has been jokingly said, you should learn from the mistakes of others because you'll never live long enough to make them all yourself. My name is Ike Engelbaum, and I'm the founder of the Entrepreneurs Network of Michigan, which is a group of motivated people that are all interested in helping each other and achieving our personal and professional goals. Please check out our website, EntrepreneursNetworkofMichigan.com, for meeting schedule as well as self-improvement material. Our philosophy is that if it's to be, it's up to me. And as is said many times, nothing ever gets accomplished without a sale being made. And no matter how fancy-dancy you want to talk about the internet and all the perks about LinkedIn and TikTok, the key to be successful as an entrepreneur is to develop sales skills. And I'm so excited and really grateful that one of the best salespeople that I've come across over all the years I've had the Entrepreneurs Network is Don Zavis. And with his name, he has Zavis, Z-A-V-I-S. Don Zavis has zest. And he has a Zavis sales training program. Is that right, Don Zavis?
It is. Thank you so much, Ike, and I appreciate it. It's always an enormous privilege to talk to you and your guests as well.
Thank you. I unfortunately just have a couple of minutes for you today. We're going to have more time on our next visit whenever you're available, because you got a very busy schedule. Tell us about the Zavis training program, and who do you feel would benefit?
Well, and again, thank you. One of the things that I'm telling everyone is that I believe these next 12 months are going to be very rocky, and that your sales, your revenue, your income has to be your number one priority. If that's not your number one priority, I believe you're going to get killed. And Don Zavis Sales Training has a partnership with the Entrepreneurs Network, where we make available, certainly live if you're at any of our live locations throughout the country, but we're also available on Zoom, on Skype, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and we have a wonderful program, and we're making it available to the Entrepreneurs Network as a partnership between Don Zavis Sales Training and the Entrepreneurs Network. So it's an absolute privilege to be able to work with your wonderful people.
Well, that's great. And if anyone is interested in getting in on the Zoom calls, please call our toll-free number, 888-489-8980. What I'm impressed about is you cover a lot of the vital things in being successful in business, and you can only do that if you're making a sale. So, and just like in religion, where you don't just go once a year for Christmas or Easter, it has to be an ongoing training. And you have a training program every week. Is that right, Don Zavis?
We do. In fact, we have our training. We have a long-term training we've actually had going back probably over 10 years every Friday. We're going to be making some changes, and we're going to be moving that to Wednesday in the months coming up. But we tell people, you can't teach a kid to ride a bike at a seminar. So what you need is this ongoing, consistent reinforcement. Circumstances change. The COVID, came out of the blue, and nobody expected that. So you really want to be flexible. You want to be able to pivot quickly. And we find that ongoing training model that we have is absolutely the most effective and efficient that there is.
Well, I can personally tell you, despite the fact that I regard myself as a pretty decent salesperson, I get so much benefit and being reminded of a lot of the things that I have stopped doing, and that's the wonderful thing about the Zavis training program. Anyone that's willing to participate, we'll give you the information. Just call toll-free number 888-489-8980. Thanks so much for calling in, Don. I look forward to it. And sails away.
Nothing happens until nothing happens until somebody sells something. Thank you so much.
All right, very good.
Bye-bye.
All right. And talk about dynamic people. One of the most dynamic personal friends that I have, and really respect for his knowledge in terms of consulting as well as having that magic word called wisdom. His name is David Shevrin. David Shevrin is a seasoned and well-articulated type individual. He works with nonprofit organizations, and he's done some dynamic things in the corporate world. Hello, David Shevrin. How are you there,
Hello,
sir? Hi. I hate to put you on the spot, but as you know, in entrepreneurship, whenever you go to these business networking groups, people ask you to do a 60-second elevator pitch. So pretend you're at one of our meetings. What does David Shevrin say?
Well, first, thank you, for inviting me to participate in the program. I've been looking forward. I even dressed up for the occasion.
Oh, wow.
I think one of the first events I went to when I moved in the area was an Entrepreneurs Network meeting, so I had a chance to start developing the elevator speech. And really, I am a nonprofit organization development consultant for about 30 years now. I got my training at Western Michigan in public administration, organization development consulting. I got training with a consulting firm that brought me under their wing. I spent the last 30 years working with government agencies and nonprofits of all shapes, sizes, and colors. I primarily starts with doing some type of planning, whether it's strategic planning or project planning. We start by planning, we collect data, we find out what's really going on, what they really need, and then we come together with solutions. I do this through facilitative skills that I've developed over the years, consultative skills I've developed over the years, and then work with them to roll out these plans, to develop leaders, develop staff, develop programs, develop services, and I try to have an ongoing relationship with my clients so that they look at me as someone they can really count on and go to when they have any type of need that I might be able to help with.
Well, I personally know from some of these organizations that you work with, I really think so highly of you that they ask you back many times as they proceed, and your company is called New Perspectives Group. Is that correct? That's
correct. It's a limited liability.
All right. Well, it actually is like the old story that the worst thing in life, and Einstein once said that the height of madness is to continue doing the same thing over and over again and expecting great results. You're not going to get anything unless you try something different. And the name in itself, New Perspectives Group, you do that. As we speak, are you open to working with more clients, or are you sort of sitting there on the beach somewhere?
Well, I wish. Actually, I did step back from my consulting business. I was prophetic. I stopped December 2019, right before the pandemic. So that was a good time to step back. However, I've continued to offer my consulting services on a volunteer basis to many nonprofits in the area, including United Way, say Detroit, Henry Ford, and now I sit on the board for the Jewish Community Center as well.
Wow, that's the key in being a true human being, and that is you want to give back after you've been fortunate enough to have received. Do you want to give out your phone number, or I can give out my toll-free number and pass it on to you? What's your desire?
Sure. I'm always open to talking to people. I mainly help people on an advisory basis. If at all, I don't really do the hands-on consulting anymore, but have been able to help just having conversations with the right people about what they might, what's going on in their organization and things that they might be able to do. Mm-hmm. My number 248-342-6320. Again, David Shevrin. That's S as in Sam, H-E-V as in Victor, R-I-N.
And you can actually be victorious with Dave Shevrin. His phone number again is 248-342-6320. And I think it's spectacular that you're willing to give up information that's actually valuable for organizations, for them to keep on being an organization. I belong to quite a few different organizations, like the Rotary Club and the Optimist Club, and they're wonderful, wonderful people. And I encourage anybody that's willing to give back to join up with that kind of an organization. Or even if you belong to a church or synagogue and you're looking for creative ways that you can raise money, because let's face it, all these nonprofit organizations, their mission is to help needy people in their community and even around the world. But you can't help people unless you can get some money put together. I have a series of icisms, and one of them that I think is appropriate is that you know what the best thing that you can do for a poor person is? The answer is not become one, okay? Because if you run out of money, you can't help somebody who's in need. And you got that gift that you shared with me while we're off the air, that you have to meet with the right people and ask the right questions. And if anyone is interested in getting a hold of you, why don't you give out your phone number a couple of times? Go ahead, Mr. David Jarrett.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I'll just respond to what you said about meeting the right people, asking the right questions. It's so critical. And I look at, I've always looked at my marketing and sales as using a consultative approach. Not selling myself, but really being there for them by understanding what their organization of business is all about, what they're doing well, where they have problems, where there is need for improvement, and then trying to be a resource from them, for them. But in getting that entry, that open door, you have to be speaking to the right person. So when you're out there networking, I found, everyone finds you're speaking to people who they're out there looking for work too. So you need to start asking them questions about their organizations. So you find out what's going on there, explain what it is that you do, what products or services that you offer, and then say, I'd love to talk more about it, but it's real important that we have the right people in the room, to make it a productive conversation. Is that something that you could help facilitate to set that up? Or if not, because often it's not the right person, and if they bring it up, they're going to get into trouble. So say, well, I can even make a cold call if that helps, but what's the best way to have that initial, I call it a scouting meeting with the right people in the room, people who are decision makers or close to decision makers that are going to be able to move this process along.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I admire about you, I've had the privilege of seeing you, quote unquote, in action, is the fact that many organizations sort of float as the wind or the current dictates, but you have the gift to ask meaningful questions to identify what is it that we're trying to get done. Because
right.
And that's the key. If you don't have specific crystallized goals, the organization sort of flounders. And you, Dave Shevrin, have got that gift. You're almost like a lifeguard. So maybe we can add that to your credentials. Dave Shevrin, the lifeguard, can be reached at 248-342-6320. Thanks so much for calling in, and I am going to put a challenge out. I'm going to talk to you again. So
hey, I love talking with you, Ike, anytime.
Have a good one. Right now, we're going to switch to another dynamic individual who I'm really excited about working with, and she's got a program that she's going to describe where you can do well doing good. So right now I'd like to put on the air if Marie Marinelli is available. Let's talk to Marie Marinelli. Hello, Marie.
Well, hello, Ike. Good morning.
Yes, ma'am. You got such a wonderful name. Oh, Marie. Anyway, Marie, I am so impressed with your mission, which I think is fantastic, because we hear all of these debates about how schools are being conducted these days, with the parents being upset that the curriculum has changed. And in all due respect, because of my age, I'm 83, as I proudly announce. I don't do it for sympathy. I do it because I'm very proud that I've been around this long, and I have a big advantage over younger people in the respect that I've had a chance to see and live through some of the situations that they have not experienced. There is no doubt, in my opinion, that the most important things an education can do is what we used to have, which were the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. And reading is devastating if you don't know how to do it. I am sure that recently there was an article on the front page of several major newspapers that one of the biggest problems the police departments have in getting new policemen on the force is that many of them can't read. And you, Marie Marinelli, have actually got a fantastic program that I'd like to share with the audience. Tell us about your tutor reading program.
Great. I'll be happy to do that. So basically, yes, kids are graduating high school today without the ability to read. This summer, I would say many of us have gone to graduation parties and honoring and celebrating the kids have graduated, right? Mm-hmm. And, many of those kids are getting ready to go back into the schools. But what most people don't know is some of these kids and the parties that you're attending, they might not actually have graduated with the ability to read. Now, I just pause for a moment because it's, I think it's something that we just need to reflect on. I mean, that was always something that we expected that would happen. Reading, writing, and arithmetic would be pretty basic foundational elements of our schools. But what's happened is, COVID has caused kids to be behind. They were learning online. Some kids have had, they've been part of families who, maybe haven't had a parent or a guardian who was able to read and therefore couldn't read. Many of the schools are burdened with large classrooms. Everybody is really trying to solve the problem. There isn't anyone really to blame in the matter. But as a community, we have an opportunity to address the issues and solve them. And quite frankly, the biggest opportunity that we have is to remove the stigma associated with not being able to read. It does not mean that a person is mentally retarded or special needs or whatever somebody wants to call that child or adult. It simply means they cannot read. I don't know how to speak German. That doesn't make me it doesn't make me mentally disabled, or it doesn't make me special needs. It just means I can't speak German. There are people that just cannot speak the English language simply because they weren't taught.
Now, tell us about your tutor program.
So the tutor program will match a tutor with a school, a nonprofit organization and a school, where that tutor would be placed in a school teaching children, or it could be in an academy where they're teaching adults to read. They get trained for roughly 2 weeks, where they're taught the skills in like Orton Gilliam and phonics and certified educational instruction in a 2-week period, saving you the opportunity. You don't have to have an actual teaching certificate to do this, but you're taught by certified instructors who do. They'll teach you in 2 weeks, and you're actually, instead of having to pay for a certification, you're actually going to get paid to do that training at minimum wage. After the 2-week period, you would make $20 an hour teaching kids or adults how to read.
Mm-hmm. Now, if anyone is interested, so I have it clear, if they want to be a tutor, they will be paid to be taught on how to be a tutor, and they will actually, after that, be assigned to different schools or an organization. You're affiliated with a nonprofit organization, so this is something that has been scrutinized. It's not a rip-off type deal. Anyone that's listening that really wants to feel good in knowing that they make a young person or even an older person, I assume that adults can benefit from these sessions as well. Is that correct? Or is it strictly for kids?
Yes. There's no age discrimination with our tutors, and there's no age discrimination for the students.
Oh, so you're paid for 2 weeks to train, and especially if you have any sort of a social type of service gene in your body, or you're a retired teacher, you would have an opportunity to be paid to be trained, and then be paid $20 an hour as long as you're flexible and at least devoting, about 30 hours a week, or what's the...
30 to 35 hours a week, Monday through Friday. You're going to have the same schedule every day in the same school or the same academy.
Right. And the beautiful part about it is, think about it, aside from your either making this into a full-time situation or a part-time situation, you are helping young people or adults who are struggling, that they cannot look at a voting ballot and figure out what the heck it says. Do you realize how terrible a situation people are put in if they don't have the basic skill of reading? And for you to be paid to help another individual be successful in life, I can't think of a better gift you can possibly convey to society. And this program has been around for a while, or is it brand new?
This program, the one I'm speaking of, has been around for 20 years.
For 20 years. So obviously...
We're doing this in Detroit metro area, and so Detroit proper, is a very large focal point, but it's really the Detroit metro area that we're focusing on right now.
Well, I can't think of something more beneficial for parents that are frustrated with what the curriculum dictates today. Rather than bad-mouthing what's out there, why not come in with something good that can be beneficial to everyone? You can't have a society of illiterate people. I mean, it's just doesn't happen. And Marie Marinelli, you've got a phenomenal company name called Good Things Delivered. Is that right?
That's right. That's also the name of our website, goodthingsdelivered.com. Uh-huh. If you, if you like the abbreviated version of Good Things Delivered, you can always reach our website by the acronym G as in good, T as in things, and D as in deliver, GTD.team. In your web browser, it'll take you right to our website where you can learn more about it.
Right.
And we actually have an apply now button where you can just type in the word tutor, and 5 minutes questionnaire will lead us to somebody who can talk to you about the job.
Wow. And of course, the old-fashioned way, people can call you as well. And you want to give us...
Call or text. 248. They can call or text us at 248-452-1154. 248-452-1154.
Right, and I always like to give out my safety net number, toll-free 888-489-8980, and I can put you in touch with Marie Marinelli, and she's a phenomenal speaker. So if you have an organization that you'd like to have her speak at, she's also talented in helping organizations get their company operating more efficiently. I've had the privilege of hearing her, and she's a real old dynamo. Marie Marinelli. What a wonderful, wonderful name. And I look forward to helping and promoting the whole aspect of helping people learn how to read, and especially now with a lot of people sort of considering switching occupations and what have you. Why not consider this as part of your life, and you can make a dynamic difference in a lot of other people's lives. And Marie, I look forward to seeing you soon, because I know you get around and around and around. Marie, thanks for calling in. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Ike. Talk to you soon.
Right. Right now, I'd like to take a brief break, and actually, since we have a limited amount of time, we're not going to take a break. I just want to remind you folks about my desire to let you know about memoryhealth.com, which is a capsule that I personally take. You take 3 a day. It actually helps in that foggy brain syndrome that many times people are suffering after the virus. But as you age, you lose a lot of the brain cells. And memoryhealth.com has been around now for several years, and it was brought out by someone who was frustrated with their mother. In fact, Ed Sheehan is the fellow that owns the company, and I've had the joy and privilege of meeting him. I've had the endorsement of Dr. Joel Kahn, who you've heard many times on the air because he's written books, and he wrote about memory health that in my more than 30 years of practicing medicine, no other product has ever come so close to truly supporting brain health like memory health. It's a safe, natural supplement. And he adds, I trust it and strongly encourage others to make it a part of their own daily health regimen. You usually need about 3 months for it to take full effect, but many people actually see a benefit of memory health in just a week or so. I personally take it myself, and I really feel a little bit better since I've started it. Unfortunately, I don't have more time to share some of my other thoughts today, but there's next week. But until then, I'd like for you to rethink and think about one of my favorite parting thoughts, which is that if you really want to get anything done in life, you'll find a way. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. And there's no excuse for not achieving your dreams and goals in America, because it is the greatest country in the whole world. Remember, a goal is just a dream with a deadline.
WNZK has available a few good hours of airtime for a few good programs to serve their communities. Radio is better than ever in targeting an audience that listens to what you say. Learn more about this exciting radio